So I see it's streaming. So let's go ahead and call this meeting to order.
Roll call. Mrs. Giselle Johnson Banks. Miss Andrenica Morris.
Present.
Mr. Edward Chase IV.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Thank you so much. So let's move into the first item on the agenda. Old business. Any old business?
No old business.
Nope. All right. Next item on the agenda, new business. We have two items today, or we have one item today on the new business: approval of the September 22nd program committee meetings minutes from 2020. So has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
I have. I move to approve.
All right. Since I can't second, I do believe that that means that by that motion, committee board member Chase's motion can be adopted. Is that right, Jade?
Good afternoon. Yeah, you, Andrenica, I would recommend that you still second it and you guys just take a formal vote on it, just so we can say that it, it followed the proper.
Then I will second that motion and then call for a vote on approving the minutes from the September 22nd, 2020 programs committee meeting. And we can all signal our approval. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right. Motion is approved. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Attorney Russell, for your support there. Next up, we're going to move right into program committee report. And I'm going to turn that over to you, Damon.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Bianca to just give a brief update on what's in your packages, but then I'll come back behind Bianca and talk a little bit about our plans for this year. We're still developing our final action plan, but I'll talk about it at a high level so you can know what to expect for the remainder of the year.
Okay, sounds great. Good afternoon, committee members. How y'all doing? Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Moving on, Finance New Orleans December 2020 programs report. Moving on to page 2, Community Support Fund demographic report for December 2020. Total amount approved year to date is $42,400. We go into the demographics on applications received. You see a breakout by council district. Council District A, 9%. Council District B brings in 21%. Council District C brings in 15%. Council District D brings in 27%. Council District E, 28%. Average age 39, gender female, 79% applicants receive, male 21% applicants receive, marital status married, 5% applicants receive, single 95% applicants receive, employment status employed 18%, unemployed 72%, furloughed 10% applicants receive. This wraps it up for our Community Support Fund demographic report. Going into our demographic analysis report for single family. This gives the origination of loans per the year. This kind of talks about loans per lender. As you know, we issued 3.2 million in loans for total of 2020. Average credit score averaged about 704 for 2020, and down payment assistance issue was 161,000 for 2020. This demographic report highlights the lenders, number of loans issued, dollar amount, percentage. It also breaks out the annual income by loans, the household size. So this report is, something that we share monthly, but it just gives you all the demographic of the loans we've issued for our single family program. And then I'll give you all an verbal update on the Green Mortgage Program. So right now we're finalizing our program documents. We had a call on last week with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and our program servicer, U.S. Bank. All came together. We're going to be offering products from both Fannie and Freddie We've gotten those program guidelines. They're in the final stages. We're making final edits. Once those are completed, we'll be getting those to our program administrator, who will get those uploaded, get those lenders trained up on the program, and we'll be ready to move forward and getting launched. We're looking at a mid-February launch date to get this program up and rolling. So moving along, this is all just demographic information related to our single family program. And continuing along, you'll see our developer pipeline. This pipeline on the first page, it kind of goes into discussing these are projects that are currently just out surfacing that may want to apply for a pilot. These are projects that we've kind of just included, listed out. Moving on to our second page of projects that we currently have in the pipeline that are active. They've submitted applications. It kind of gives you an update of where they at. They've submitted pre-applications. They're going before the underwriting committee. The underwriting committee has approved them to receive a full application. So all of that information is kind of highlighted on the second one. And as you can tell, we've closed on 2 projects. We're closed on McDonald 19, and we've also closed on Peace Lake Towers. We are planning to close on Sheffman 2 Apartments as well by the month end. And that really concludes the programs report for December 2020. Any questions, committee members?
So I had a question.
Mhm.
This is great. Thank you guys so much for that. I wanted to go back, and this is a little bit of an audible, sorry about that.
Mhm.
With the rental assistance program, I also wanted to put on our radar that we might want to think about looking at something down the line for foreclosure prevention, because while the renter crisis is certainly, Bianca was on the call this morning with us earlier where we were talking about this. And I also would like to think about having the Finance Authority help identify and just really look at like the soft seconds that you guys are managing, to see if there's anybody who's feeling the pinch and starting to get into trouble. And so we can start working on a solution for that. I think the Finance Authority could be critical to addressing this foreclosure crisis that's imminent, particularly given the fact that we're going to have a lot of, I think a good number of folks who got soft seconds, not just from the Finance New Orleans, but also from the city and other partners who are going to be in trouble. And I think Finance New Orleans can actually can do something really helpful and assist with this in a way that not a lot of people are looking at. So I'd like to put that bug in y'all's ear, and maybe we can talk about that a little more in depth down the line, but well, sooner rather than later, because this is not something that we're going to have a year to game plan out. But given what you guys did last year, how this entity stepped up and stepped into that breach, I want to put that on your radar as well, and ask you guys to see if there's anything that you will be able to do.
Definitely.
And Byron knows this. He was helping us with the analysis. Byron, I don't know if you saw the story last week. Tony McCauley actually got the Federal Reserve got the Black Knight data that we were looking for. And they released a report that confirmed all of the things that we were worried about. And so we know that it's a problem. And it's definitely, we need, I think Finance New Orleans's role, the role that this agency has been trying to assert and assume, is being on the front lines for this conversation. And y'all already heading in that direction. So I just want to say, can we commit to that, and then have, let the board know what you find and what you think is going to be appropriate.
Will do.
And that was all I had on that issue for Bianca and Damon on this part of it. I know Damon's got some things he wants to share with us as well.
Thank you, Board Member Morris.
Is that it for you, Bianca?
Yep, that wraps it up for me.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just continue on from that point, actually, about the Community Support Fund. We have a number of things planned for our programs this year. Going back to our strategic plan that we were working on throughout the 2020 year, we're getting ready to put some of those initiatives in action. So putting our high performance team in place. Now that we have new programs set up, there are additional program resources that we need to have, including human capital, technology, financial capital. So we're just gearing up to make sure that we can address all of our program needs, and that's across the board. But beginning with the Community Support Fund, it did start out very narrowly focused on providing COVID relief, but the vision has always been to provide more substantial support to the city and to the community. So, if it calls for us to move faster than we had originally planned to, and I think that's just what we have to do. So we're going to spend some time this year fleshing out the Community Support Fund, identifying some of those resources that Board Member Morris just talked about. There are plenty of foundations and funds and grants that we just haven't gone after because we haven't put the infrastructure in place to mobilize in that area. So the Community Support Fund can serve as that mechanism for us. And it also serves as a mechanism for us to distribute resources directly to the community in times of need, just like we did with the rental assistance program. So that was essentially us putting cash directly out to the community. And that's from reserves that we've just earned and maintained over time. So as we're successful in launching programs and making them financially sustainable, I won't say profitable, but sustainable is what we're looking for. And as we make them sustainable, we'll be able to shift some of those sustainable resources to the Community Support Fund and make contributions in good and bad times. So that's the long-term vision for it. We're going to keep coming back to the programs committee as we develop it, as we build up the staff. But I just want you to know that we do anticipate putting the infrastructure behind the Community Support Fund to start going after some of those opportunities that you just mentioned. And then on the housing front, we have our Green Mortgage Program, which Ms. Brown just talked about. And all I'll say there is that we, in terms of our marketing outreach, we're going to be real aggressive in using social media, other free resources, and some paid resources. But there are a lot of eyes and ears out there right now in just sitting on the internet all day long, because that's where people are and that's where work is being done. And we think we're competing not only with, other areas around the state for people and residents, but other cities. So if you look at the trends that are going on, there are people that are deciding to work from home, or they're being allowed to work from home, and they're deciding to move. They want to move to places where they think they'll have a better quality of life, where their money will go a little further. So I think there are going to be some opportunities, and we've been talking about that on the marketing side. So we're also developing a marketing campaign to really push out the Green Mortgage Program, in addition to all of these other programs, but especially the Green Mortgage Program, because that's where we reach our homeowners. So you're going to see more activity on that front. In terms of the Sustainable Developer Program, we're building out some technology. We completed 2 pilot projects last year and 1 this year. And the technology that I'm talking about is going to help us to just be more efficient and do more projects per year and give developers an opportunity to interface with us. And then there are also additional program features and incentives that we're going to continue to build out and investigate, like credit enhancement for bonds. We're also looking at pre-development capital for developers that are building sustainable housing. We're also looking at sales tax, a sales tax pilot or a sales tax exemption, if you will. So there are many ideas that are floating around, and we're thinking about the best ways to execute them for the Sustainable Developer Program. So we have a number of R&D items on our list, high on our list this year, and we'll continue to build those out. And then lastly, on green buildings and infrastructure, of course, that's our newest area, the newest wing of our operation. We're trying to put most of our focus into housing right now, but at the same time, there are opportunities that the city has that need to be mobilized right away. So we're starting to build the infrastructure for green buildings and our infrastructure program, green infrastructure program. We're looking at some pilot projects with the city, as well as some local businesses that will allow us to prove out how this program needs to look, the types of investments that we can make. and what makes the most financial sense for the community. So all of that work is going to begin this year. We're in the process of sorting it out, figuring out which work will start at which point in the year, because we can't do it all at once, but we also need to multitask. So it's a very aggressive agenda for our programs R&D, but I think we had an aggressive agenda last year and the year before, and I think it actually serves us well. So our staff is up to the challenge, and we're going to keep pushing these programs forward. And another thing to say before I open it up for questions is that we now have access to other peer groups. We spend time with the American Green Bank Consortium. You heard from them during the December board meeting. We're spending more time with NELFA. We had some peer-to-peer learning opportunities that we took advantage of with our counterpart finance authorities around the country. And then we've also been accepted into some accelerator programs, or at least one accelerator program this year, which we'll share more details about in the next few weeks. But we've been accepted into the accelerator program, which is supposed to help organizations like ours, governmental agencies, accelerate community impact projects and accelerate the types of financing available. So that program is being sponsored by the Lincoln Land Institute, and I'll make sure that the board gets information about it in email, but you'll hear more about it as we get more involved. But these are the types of opportunities that we have this year for internal development, and we plan to take those opportunities and flip them around right away and turn them into community impact. So those are our goals. That's a part of the strategic plan. But again, this is year one of that strategic plan. So some of these things are just going to take a few years. So we'll probably be reporting back on those few items that I just mentioned over the next 3 to 5 years, to be honest, because it's really going to take that long to cultivate them, and we're trying to build a few things at once. But all in all, I think we'll still see some good progress over the next few years.
Thank you, Damon. Does anybody have any questions for our Director Burns? So you answered most of my questions. And one thing that I did want to kind of keep on our radar as we move through this is I know that you mentioned the team that you are assembling and have assembled. I do want us to think about, what else you need from a staffing perspective and what that's going to look like, or you feel like you've made all of those tweaks. I know that was and I guess I know the finance committee digs into this a little bit more, but I also think programs should have some, not say it's not the right word, but we should be preparing for any changes to supporting you in any changes in staffing that need to be made. Hi, Chairwoman Banks.
Hi, y'all. My apologies. I'm so sorry.
Not a problem, lady.
Joining you all late. Please carry on.
I hand it back over to you. I just was asking a couple of questions about staffing so that we can think about how to support. We've got a number of programs that Damon just talked about that are launching and are finally getting their steam under them, and just making sure that the organization is, again, we don't deal with hiring and personnel decisions, but we do want to be kept abreast of them because they do have financial implications. And Absolutely. We don't want to, we don't, I think if we need to be planning for it, basically, and be more engaged around it as possible. So if we can talk about that in the next couple of months, mm-hmm. right? As some of these are launching, and that includes, Damon, outside contractors. I know you're getting some of this work done with contracting staff, and not really contracting staff, contractors who are temporary and things like that. Is where you think that's gonna work or not work long term? I think we'd like to have some of those, discussions with you sooner rather than later. And And in that way, so we're not just coming at it from a financial perspective. We are also thinking about it from programs, making sure that the programs are appropriately supported.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Thank
But
you.
thank
That's
you,
all I got.
Angelina. That was right on. So we, we've kind of discussed some of this as a committee. So I appreciate you vocalizing that for everyone, and just being consistent. We talked about us coming back and really keeping a good eye on the budget and making sure that even though we're not the finance committee, we do work hand in hand, and so everything we do has a cost, and so it all affects finance, and so just making sure that we kind of stay on top of this. So thanks again, Angelina.
Mhm.
So I don't even know where we are on the agenda.
I'm sorry. One comment before we move on is,
Yeah, sure.
we have looked at the staffing needs going into 2021. We factor some of that into the budget that you approved in December. And we have enough resources at the moment in terms of personnel, or at least what has been budgeted for to get things going. But I think in order for us to move at the optimal speed or to be at an optimal level, we can present to you what that picture looks like, but there's a cost to it. So we've just been trying to balance the cost of building out that infrastructure and moving as quickly as we can. So we do have enough to get things jump started right now. But over the next few months, we can lay out, what it needs to look like in 5 years or 3 or 5 years, and a path to getting to that point. And some of our fundraising goals are attached to staffing up. So as we go out and ask for resources, we're explicitly asking funders, investors. Bond investors can't really do much for us in the space, but commercial banks, foundations can, where we need startup capital. We need some seed capital to help us jumpstart some of these innovative programs and to give us time, some runway to get it done. So that's a conversation that's been started, but in order for us to bring it home, we've had to map out a full plan, and that's what we're doing now. But once we have that, we need to just make the ask and just be strategic about how we bring on those new resources.
Okay.
Okay, where are we on the agenda? I jumped in when you were talking.
Oh, sorry, no problem. Yeah, I should have I helped onboarded you. We're in the programs committee report. We're in the report. So I think this is the last item on the agenda, I think.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take it.
Oh,
and continue.
Wait,
I do want to say hi to Naj. Welcome, Naj. All right, go ahead.
welcome. Yeah, I think that's it.
Hey,
Yeah,
Giselle. Hey, everybody. I am on the
sorry.
line. I'm just noting everything. Nice to meet you, Miss Morris. Continue.
Welcome. All right, thanks. Go ahead, Angelina.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
No problem. So yeah, so we have looking back to the agenda, we're not, I don't know, we don't have an executive session. Other business?
No.
Do we have anything? We don't see anything. And do we have any public comments?
No public comments at this time.
All right.
I
Well,
will, one thing, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
Board Member Morris. For other business, we do have, just to give you a heads up, for our full board agenda, we do have a presentation from Green Coast Enterprises. They have a project that they're working on with NHS. It's on Ferret Street. And there's some community space that'll be in that building. So they've approached us about the possibility of Finance New Orleans having a satellite office or a satellite operation where, we'd take applications, we'd have a kiosk, we may be able to have staff in there temporarily, but a place where the community could go to get information about our programs or even apply for our programs. So there's some other organizations going into it. It sounds interesting, but is something that I thought would be appropriate for the board to hear before we went any further. So they're going to make a presentation at today's board meeting. But that is directly related to programs because
Yeah.
essentially those satellite offices would be focused around programs, promoting our programs.
Are we, just out of curiosity, are we helping them finance that deal as well? Are they, because I know I'm quite familiar with it, and they ran into some problems in their original iteration. Some of those problems were with the IDB. So, and they're one of the deals that I think about when Finance New Orleans has been working to set up its shop. The problems again caused by their working with the IDB. Are they still going to go back to them, or are they going to try the new kid on the block? Or really, the Finance New Orleans is returning to its historic place inside of the housing sphere.
Yeah, they've approached us also.
Or you don't know.
They've approached us about a pilot as well.
Good.
So I think it's
Good.
appropriate.
That's what I wanted to hear as well.
That's
They
great.
haven't
Yeah.
advanced through the application process just yet. Well, I
That's
take that
fine.
back.
I just want to make sure that they're asking for everything that they need to be talking to you about. I want to make sure they're talking to you about all of it.
Yeah. We just separated this particular ask because
fine.
it has a time.
Yeah, it is separate.
It has a time date.
It is separate. You're correct.
So, but yes, they are, and we're going to continue pushing them on that point.
And Damon, where's the kiosk location you were talking about?
So I forget the exact address, but it's for Rat Street where the public house used to be.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah,
across
it's in the old NHS building.
Yeah.
okay.
And they are building it as a home ownership center. So there's going to be a credit union, there's going to be real estate agents, home buyer,
Oh, nice.
education operations. So we wouldn't be the only ones there, but I think that's something interesting for us to look at. But there's also other neighborhoods which we should consider doing the same thing. So this could be a pilot for us to look at ways to build out satellites in different places around the city.
Yes, because as we're talking about this, I'm thinking the East, number one,
Yeah.
and giving residents, access to us, who really have a hard time with transportation and things like that. So, of course.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So we'll need to map that out, of course. This is just a very raw idea, but today we'll just get a chance to hear. And then from there, the staff can take it back and start putting in a formal action plan for how we do something like this.
Outstanding.
And that's it for the staff.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. I'm sorry. Listen, Naj, I should have saved my hellos until this point in the agenda. So I apologize for the interruption. But
I'm going to introduce
hi again and
Naja
welcome.
Giselle, I'm going to introduce Naja at the board meeting.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Okay. Okay, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Well,
Thanks.
thank you. I
This
mean,
was
do we have to
Guys, before,
vote to
yeah, you gotta
adjourn?
take yes, please.
So
Thank
can
you.
we get a motion to
Poor
adjourn?
Jade.
I couldn't get off mute quick enough. I'm sorry.
I remember, Jade. I did
I
remember.
moved.
I was like, wait. All right, Chairwoman Banks moves to
Second.
adjourn. Can we get a second? We got a second for
Second.
Board Member Chase. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting, any opposed? Nope, meeting's adjourned. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks a
Take
lot.
care.
Bye,
All right,
Bianca.
bye-bye.
Take it up to 10 minutes.
All right. See y'all.